All right, fine. So, welcome to the first day of the training, right? This is the course day by day coverage. And in this weekend batch, every day we'll be covering 2 days over here. And in the end, we'll be doing a framework development end to end scenarios in Selenium. Right. So, look, overall, I can tell you through a list of FAQs, which I always discuss in every course before I start the training. Right. So the first question which generally people are having is that what will be taught in the course? Well, basically, if you look at it, overall we'll be covering Java WebDriver frameworks, Maven, and TestNG, Jenkins, Grid, right? And yes, you will be getting access to the videos along with the training. Fine. Okay, and we'll do end-to-end project as well. All right, and you will record the sessions. You will be getting access to the recordings as well. Look, people generally ask that is Java required? Look, you cannot do away with Java. You have to learn it. There is no running away, and you have to learn it in quite a good way. And I will be teaching you Java. But I'm assuming that you know basics of programming. You know what if statements are. You know what for loops, while loops, functions, variables are. Okay, I need help in my project and I need help to clear the interview. Well, you know, yes, you can definitely clear interview after the training, but it's something which you cannot just do in a month or 2 months. It takes around time. It'll take you 10 days to just learn the tool, and then you will have to practice for another 6 to 8 weeks to reach a level where you can work on a project and you can clear an interview. And after that also you have to keep on upgrading yourself with different types of frameworks and all, and that will help you. It's a minimum 8 weeks time, which I'm telling you. Generally people come to us and think of fast results and all, or some shortcut. Look, there is never ever a shortcut. Okay, don't think like that. You have to learn it in a proper way. All right. And look, we will definitely, this training will help you out. We are here to guide you, but it is you who has to sit down and, practice, burn the midnight oil, and you have to learn it. Nobody else can do that. Okay. The duration of this course is nearly 25 to 30 hours, in which half the course will be doing, sorry, we'll be giving to WebDriver, TestNG, Grid, and all, and the rest of the half we'll be giving to the projects or the frameworks. Right. Okay. Right. And 50% of the time we'll be giving to a project or a framework, which is basically a live thing. Okay, which will help you understand how we use Selenium end to end. Could you also provide some kind of a live project? We do that. That's known as a framework. And look, we just do not, directly work on a project. You cannot do that. You have to learn Java and you have to learn the concepts of Selenium first, right? This is the URL of this course detail. I will just give it to you on the chat. All right, fine. Now, sorry, just 1 minute. Going over to the course, okay, starting off with it. Before I start off with the course, right? And I just want to discuss, do you have any questions or anything regarding the course? You can use the chat option or you can unmute yourself and ask the question. I can mail or you can refer this URL. Also, I can do that. You can send me an email. Okay, right. So let us start with the training. Look, it takes around 6 to 7 weeks. Somewhere in the end of July, you can expect. Okay. Now, um, going forward, right, let us start with the discussion with the brief history of Selenium, where it is going and why Java is important and how will Java help you out here. Okay, look, the thing is, first of all, if I tell you about Selenium, everything is mentioned on the official website of Selenium. If you go over here, right, and if you go to seleniumhq.org, if you go to this website, then these guys they have kept everything out here, and the first line says that Selenium automates browsers. It's an automation testing tool which is primarily meant for automating web-based applications. Okay, and if you go to the, it's not for desktop based applications, and if you go to this download section, we'll be studying Selenium with Java. Selenium is available in multiple languages. Okay, if you look at this C Sharp, Ruby, Python, JavaScript, there are other versions also available. All right, now thing is, initially we had around 10 years back, okay, we had this tool Selenium RC. I first worked on Selenium RC. It's deprecated now. Okay, it could make dynamic scripts and all, and it could, work on multiple browsers, right? But it had lot of drawbacks. All right, report generation was also there. So that is why, somewhere in August 2011, we came up with WebDriver 2. Okay, and last year, sorry, just 1 minute. Last year we came up with WebDriver 3. Okay, so WebDriver 3 is something which we will work on, which is the latest version of Selenium. Along with it, there are other components as well. There is something known as Selenium IDE. Selenium IDE practically nobody uses. It's a record and run tool which primarily works only on Firefox. Okay, record and run feature is not successful these days because the websites they're quite dynamic and all, and it will generate no reports, nothing. Okay, so it becomes tough to use IDE, right? We use Grid as well. Grid is something which helps to run the WebDriver scripts which you make if you want to run them parallelly across different operating systems or different machines, right? Then you can use Grid. We make a central machine hub, we connect other machines to this central machine, and then we run the code in order to save time. Or if you have to run your scripts dynamically on different operating systems to check out the results and all, and save time as well, so you use Grid. Okay, so our objective over here is to learn Selenium WebDriver, Grid and all. IDE we will not do in the pre-recorded videos which you get along with the course. Okay, IDE is covered, but IDE is a useless tool for to be very honest. All right, now to learn WebDriver you need to learn Java. The biggest problem which most of the people face is learning Java. Look, thing is it is not so tough, and understand one point, that suppose you end up learning Java and you learn Selenium with it. Tomorrow if you have to learn any other tool, for example Appium, which is for mobile automation, can automate mobile apps, or you want to learn say Rest Assured or SOAP UI, which is for web services, or it's also known as API testing, REST protocol, JSON and all. Then learning these tools, it becomes really easy. All these are tools used in testing. Okay, even tools like JMeter, which is for load testing and all. So it becomes really easy for a tester because you get a knack of Java, you get a basic understanding of Java when you learn it with Selenium. So it's not just that Java will be helpful for Selenium, it's helpful for many other, sorry, many other tools as well. All right. Now on the official website of Selenium, which is seleniumhq.org, we will be using this downloads section a lot. All right, this is the downloads section, and we will be using it a lot. Over here, we have this download link, right, where you can download Selenium from. I'll talk about that. This is the change log link. This link also, the current version, for example, is 3.12. This link will tell you that in each version, what are the changes that have come up. Okay, right. And there is a link known as Java Doc. This link explains the Java documentation for Selenium. Okay, you won't be able to understand this, right? It contains many Java classes and all, right? So that's the thing. Okay, now out here, this is done, this is done. All right. So now the thing is, where to start with? To start with, we have to understand the concept of object-oriented programming. You cannot just understand everything from this Java doc without understanding the concept of object-oriented programming. Fine. I'm assuming you know basics of coding and all, like loops and all, arrays and all, basics of functions. If you are kind of person who has never done programming, then don't join the online training directly. Okay, it won't help you. Buy the access to the videos first, watch videos, learn from them, and then join the training. You just need to pay the difference amount at that time. You don't need to pay fees while joining the training. Then it will help you a lot. You don't have to, don't come for the training directly in that case. Okay, because in the pre-recorded videos, I have covered Java in very much depth as compared to the online training. Okay, right. Now, what is the objective of this course? The objective of this course is to learn how to build a framework. I will talk about that, right? But the first thing is that you need to install JDK. If you have not installed JDK, make sure you have installed JDK 8. Please install JDK 8, right? And you can go to the Oracle website and accept the agreement and download it for your operating system and install it. Okay, this is for 32-bit Windows and 64-bit Windows. Alright, for Mac, this is the link. Once you have installed it, you can go and download and install Eclipse. Eclipse we are going to use in this training. It's an editor for Java language, right? So you can write over here, download Eclipse. You can go to the first link, Eclipse downloads, and out here you can download the 64-bit version of Eclipse, right? And when you download this, you can install it and you will get it as a bundle out here. Hold on. In my PC, I have kept it over here. You will get this Eclipse folder under which you will have eclipse.exe. Okay, you can start this exe. Hold on, it's going to take a little while to start this exe. Just a minute. All right, fine. So when you start it, you get a window like this. All right, this is the Eclipse launcher window. You have to provide the path of your workspace. Workspace means the code which you will be storing, the complete code, the path of the code. Right. We will be storing it under. Look, to today's day one, most of the people might be knowing what I'm going to train, or might be knowing Eclipse and all, but there are people who are not knowing these things. So I have to start with the basics, right? Today I will be covering up till the object-oriented programming constructors and all, and how these are used in case of Selenium. All right, fine. So this is your, I will just name the workspace as June weekend 2018. Okay. and let it launch. Just hold on. Yeah, this is Eclipse. Right, this is the welcome screen. Right, and fine. This is Project Explorer. Basically, you keep all the projects and all over here, right? And you will be writing the code in the central portion. You can, for example, I'll create a new project. I'll create a new, go to other, and under Java, you can create a Java project, a simple Java project. Fine. Day one, I will call it. All right. Fine. So out here, hold on, finish it. All right. So this will be the project out here. And if you expand this project, you will find JRE system library, which is nothing but Java, which is installed on your system. And there will be a source folder as well. Okay, whatever code we make it in the source folder. I'll create a first Java file. I'll create, right click on the source folder, create a new class, and I'll call it as uh, basics.java. Okay, select this checkbox, public static void main. So you will get a class like this, a Java file like this. Right. What is static? What is public? Okay, all this you will come to know in some time. Okay, I will when I teach you object-oriented programming. This is the main function. All right. The control comes into the main function by default when you run the program. All right, and you can write over here int I equals to 100 or string s equals to hello. So I'm assuming you know basic things, right? To print something in Java, you have to give system.out.println command. The shortcut is you type syso and hit control spacebar of your keyboard. Okay, after typing syso, hit control spacebar. You will get the system.out.println. Fine. And you just type over here hello world. To run this program, you can run it from run basics. Right, so it will print hello world. Fine. So I'm assuming you know what a for loop is. Right. This is a okay, if statements and all. I'm going to concentrate on object-oriented programming. All right. One more thing. If you right click on this project, you will get a lot of options and we will be using these options. All right. You can go to the properties section. This is properties in the end. We will be using this properties a lot. All right. And, and under resource, you will be able to see the folder where this project is lying. If you click on this icon, then that folder will open up. Day one project is there. Basically the workspace path, right? And under this, you will be able to see bin, source, and other files and all, out of which only the source folder is visible inside Eclipse. All right. Under the source folder, you will be able to see basics of Java and all, which you can open in Notepad. Under the bin folder, you will be seeing basics.class file. This class file is like, it's like an exe. Every Java file is converted to a class file. And we can execute this class file on any operating system. I can build this class file on Windows, I can run it on Linux or anything. We deliver this class file to the client. Okay, every Java file in the source folder will be converted to a class file, and class file will be stored under the bin folder. Bin folder is not available in Eclipse. Okay, for example, if I just create a new class, say print name, and I will just print my name, which is Ashish, and if I run this program, it will print my name. And out here, print name.java is converted to print name.class file. Okay, right. So every .java file is converted to a .class file, and that class file is actually like an executable file. Now, when we are working on a project, okay, if I am working on a project, then what happens is that you have lot of class files which get generated, because in one project at times there can be thousands of Java files. Now all these class files have to be given to the client. Okay, so what we do is that we put all these class files in a single file. This single file is known as a jar file, and we give the jar file to the client. Okay, jar file is like the, you can say it's like the executable. Okay, it will have lot of class files. Not exact, sometimes it can be executable as well, sometimes not. But it contains lot of classes. For example, when you download Java and install Java, what happens? This is JRE system library, which is Java, which is there in your machine. It is nothing but collection of many jar files. Every jar file contains lot of class files. Alright. And each class file you can use at your own will depending on the situation. For example, if I just write over here system.out.println new date. Okay, import date, hold on. I'm sorry. What is new out here? Just forget about that. Date is one of the class files which is present in any of the jars out here. Okay. And when I run this, and you see the result. Okay, you see, you get the complete date with the month, year, day, time, time zone, year, everything. All right. And the thing is, the most important thing is you never had to, write the logic for this. Everything is inbuilt. You use the inbuilt features of this class, and the same exact thing happens in Selenium as well. Everything is inbuilt in Selenium. Okay, everything is inbuilt. You just have to use the features of the inbuilt thing. You need to download the jars of Selenium and use the classes inside the jars. For example, I use the date class which is there in one of the Java jars. Similarly, Selenium guys, what they have done is when you click on this download link, and you get a folder like this. I mean, download it. Selenium is not installed, it is configured. Okay, you will get a folder like this. 3.12 is the latest version. Alright, and under this you will see this jar file, client combined 3.12.jar. This is the main jar file for Selenium. You can ignore this jar file. This jar file contains source code of Selenium. Selenium is open source. Okay, this is the main jar file. Along with that, under the libs folder, you will find the other jar files. You have to include all these jars inside Eclipse. These jars, they contain the programming or the class files done by the Selenium guys. And you have to use the existing classes of these jars to work with Selenium. Okay, so what you do is that you open Eclipse, right click on the project and go to the properties. I'm including the jars inside Eclipse. Okay, right, fine. And you go to the properties, go to Java build path, go to libraries section, go to add external jars and include the main jar file and also include all the jars under the lib. I'm giving you the recording of this session as well. If you're confused, you can refer the recording. Under Java build path, you have 4 tabs. You have to go in the libraries tab and click on add external jars and add the jar files. Fine, and you will get this reference libraries section inside Eclipse. This will contain the jar files which you added. If you don't get this reference libraries section, sometimes the jars they directly come up. You have to click on this icon open perspective. Okay, open it and select the Java perspective. Make sure you are in the Java perspective. There are other perspectives like debug and all, I'll tell you. Now, this project is Java enabled. Okay, sorry, Selenium enabled. Selenium is not installed. There is no exe. You can use the existing features of these jars. The features of these features are also explained in the documentation. Okay, in the Java doc location, if you go, these are the classes which are there inside the jar. Look, there are lots of classes. You don't need to remember all of them. Nobody does. All right, right. Nobody does, and you just have to, you know the major ones. I will talk about that, and you need to have the knack to understand this documentation. Fine. Okay. Out here, this is done. Fine. Now, what is the next thing which has to be done? The next thing is you have to understand OOPS. Okay, before I jump over to OOPS, let me just take up one more thing, which is debugging. Okay, how to debug programs. Right, because this is important when you're making projects, when you're making scripts, you really don't know what is happening at which point of time and all. Okay, and to understand that, you have to understand how to debug. All right, now I'm coming over to debugging. Let me make a new class. Okay, and I will name it as, hold on, just 1 minute. Why is this? I will name it as debugging example. In debugging, you can run the code line by line and check out the status. It is there in every programming language and it is really important. As a beginner, it will help you a lot. Fine. Suppose I declare a variable int I equals to 100. On the next line, I increment the value of I by 10. And on the next line, I print the value of I. Then I multiply I by 20 and I print the value of I. When you run this code, it gives you this output. Okay, 110 and 2200. All right, fine. Now you can actually see the status of every variable. Fine. Or you can put while debugging. Basically, I want to say if you put a breakpoint on this first line. Okay, breakpoint means you double click on this line and you will see a small dot. This small dot is known as a breakpoint and you have to run it in the debug mode. That is, this is a small debug mode and debug icon, you can run it in this and you will get this window. Click on yes and you will be switched over to this debug perspective. In the variables tab, you will be able to see the real-time variables. All right. And this green line means that the control has stopped on this line. Now you can run the code line by line. If you hit F6 of the keyboard, then this line will execute and the control will come to the next line and you see I has come out to be 100. The value of I is 100. Okay. And then you can hit F6 again. 10 is added to I, so the value of I becomes 110. So you can keep on running it line by line and out here 110 is printed. And when it is multiplied by 20, the I value becomes 2200. Okay. If you want to run it like a normal Java program, you have to hit F8. F6 will run line by line and F8 will run it normally. Debugging is really helpful, especially when you have huge chunks of Java files and all. It really helps you. It is not just about I. If I had other variable as well, say int x equals to 20 and x equals to x divided by 10, something like this. And if I run it in the debug mode, I will be able to see the state of all the variables. Okay, you will be able, if I keep on hitting F6, see x is 20 and I is 100, the control is on this line and I will hit F6. So it moves ahead, x becomes 2. Right, so if you want to terminate the program or stop the program in between, you can click on this red icon. Alright, so basically F6 is for running line by line and F8 is for a normal regular run. Fine. Okay. Now out here, done, done. Okay. Now what's next? Yeah. Now out here you can, this is the breakpoint. If you go to the breakpoints section, you will be able to see this debugging example as a breakpoint on line number 7. You can put multiple breakpoints as well. So I'll put a breakpoint over here and then I will put a breakpoint on this particular line. I can have multiple breakpoints. Alright. And you run it in the debug mode again and the control will stop on this particular line. And if you run it by F6, it will run line by line. If you hit F8, it will run normally and stop on the next breakpoint. We do it at a regular basis because generally in one program there are not just 5 or 7 lines. At times there are hundreds of lines. So you have to debug the example again and again with different breakpoints, and when it stops on the next breakpoint, you will see the updated values of the variables as well. You can remove the breakpoints by unchecking these checkboxes, or you can double click on these breakpoints and you can remove them. Alright, fine. Now this is done. Okay, if you want to come back to the Java perspective, you can click on this icon, come back to the Java perspective. Yeah. Look, infinite loop only happens if I write like this, while say 2 greater than 1, system.out.println hello. Now this condition will always be true. Okay. If I run this, it will keep on printing hello infinitely. You can stop it with this terminate button. So you have to make sure you don't give a condition like this. Okay. Now suppose you have other functions as well. In one Java program, you can have different functions, right? Say I make another function, public static void, say add. Hold on, k equals to k plus 1000, and I print the value. So whatever number you are sending inside this function, 1000 will be added to that number. And suppose I call the add function over here and send the value of x into k. So I'm calling this function from here and sending x into k and adding 1000. So if I put a breakpoint on this line, the first line, and I run it in the debug mode, click on yes, it will come here. And if I hit F6 of the keyboard, it will reach this add function. If I hit F6, add will be executed, and the value of x was 2, which was sent into k. So 1000 plus 2 is 1002, which is printed. Now what if I want to go inside this function and debug it? To go inside this function and debug it, either I can put a breakpoint on this function in itself, so that when I run it in the debug mode, the control first stops on this first breakpoint, and if I hit F8, it will stop on the next breakpoint, which is inside the function. And then I can hit F6 again and again and come out of the function and run it normally with F8. Or what I can do is that I can run it in debug mode, stop here, hit F6, reach the line where the function is called, and if you want to go inside the function, the command is F5. If you hit F5, the control goes inside the function, and you can see the value of k to be 2. Okay, and 2 is added to 1000 and 1002 is printed, and you come back to the main function, and these are the variables in the main function. Okay, so to go inside a function, the command is F5. I'm sorry. Okay, anybody with any question? No questions? All right. Now the next thing this is debugging. It will be required a lot, and we will be, whenever you're writing a program, if you're stuck somewhere, the only thing which is going to help you out is debugging. All right. Now, what we will be doing out here, we will be studying the concepts of object-oriented programming now. And then we will be seeing the basic drivers which are there in the Selenium and how to set them up, right? And we'll also see constructors and all. Okay, fine. Now, before I move ahead, hold on. This is the documentation. These are all the classes which are present in Selenium. And you basically create the objects of these classes to work with, Selenium. There is nothing like which you have to invent. Everything is built inside Selenium. And you have to use the pre-built features with the help of object-oriented programming. Fine. You can also import this documentation inside Eclipse so that you don't have to go to this website again and again. And I will tell you how you can import this documentation inside Eclipse as well. All right. Now let us do one thing. Let us fine. Welcome after the break. Right. So now let us start with object-oriented programming. Fine. I am going to create a new class, right? And I will call it as say human being. Okay. So this is the class human being. It's got no main function inside this class. All right. Fine. Now, what are the features of the human being class? Int weight, say string name. So these are two simple features. Right, these are two simple features of the human being class. Right. Now, we will do something known as creating the object of this class. I'll create a new class over here and I will call that class as test, and it will have the main function. Fine. And what I will do is that I will create object of human being class out here. How do you create the object? You write over here human being, say h1, or you simply write first of all new human being. So what will happen is that in the memory create the object, and that object will have two properties, name and height. Alright, but you cannot access this object. You can create as many objects you want, but you cannot access these objects. If I create three objects, then all the three objects will have name and height. Okay, but you cannot access these objects. To access these objects, you need to have object reference. Alright, now what do you mean by object references? Object references point towards those objects. Alright, and you need to create them something like this. To write h1 equals to this, h2 equals to this, and h3 equals to this, right? And then you in the memory, what will happen is h1, oh, sorry, h1 will point towards the first object, h2 to the second object, and h3 to the third object. So h1, h2, h3, right? And with h1, h2, h3, you can change the state of the object. Okay, right. Now, with h1, if I write h1 dot, okay, you will get a lot of options. You can write h1 dot say name. You will get the option name and height. h1 dot height option or the weight option. It was not height, I'm sorry, it was weight. Weight is 100. So what will happen is that in the memory, okay, I'm sorry, this was weight. Just a minute. This was weight. Okay, it has to be completely deleted, I guess. Just a minute. I'm sorry. Height and weight are two properties. So you can, with h1 you gave the name A and weight 100. With h2 you can give a different name and weight to the object. Okay, you can write over here h2 dot name is B, h2 dot weight is 300. Okay, right. And h3 dot name is C, h3 dot weight is 300. So you can give each object parameter a different way. Fine. So this becomes A, this becomes B, and this becomes C. Okay. And you can print over here system.out.println h1.name, h2.name, h3.name. So when you run this code, it will print accordingly. Okay, A, B, and C. This is fine, not a big deal. Okay, now object references, they can be moved in the memory. I can write h1 equals to h2. This means that now h1 will be removed from here and h1 will also point to the location where h2 is pointing. h1 equals to h2. h1 will be removed and will point to the location where h2 is pointing. Fine. Okay. And now if you print these three lines again, if I run this code, h1 and h2 will print the same thing, BB, because they are pointing towards the same object. If I write h1 dot name is equal to z, then h1 will change the name over here to z. h1 and h2 will, both of them, when they get the name, they'll get the name as z. If I run this code, if I copy this and if I paste it again, and if I run this, now it will print z two times. So one object reference can change the state of the object. Okay, and other references will get the updated state. To, to an object, multiple object references can be pointed. Okay, and this is what complete Selenium is. Selenium is all about creation of objects. That's it. Okay, now suppose I write over here int brain, okay, or int eyes. Out here, when you create the object of human being class, every human being will have two eyes, right? H1, H2, H3. All the human beings will have two eyes. Okay, so this doesn't make sense that I make a eye variable in every object. The value would be the same for all the objects. That is why we, sorry, my speaker was on mute. If anybody would have spoken something, I won't had come to know. Okay, so I'm sorry. If you have any questions, you can ask me. Fine. Out here, this is done. So I was telling that eyes in human being, eyes is always two. So it doesn't make sense to put this in every object, so we make it static. When you keep a variable static, that means you are moving it out of the object. I will be somewhere out here at a common memory location which can be accessed by all the objects. Okay, it doesn't remain the part of object. You will see you will get a yellow warning sign over here that you're trying to access eyes with the help of object. You are not supposed to access eyes with the help of object. Okay, eyes is not a part of object. You're getting a warning. Static things can be accessed directly with the name of the class. You can write over here human being dot eyes are. Okay, you can write human being dot eyes equals to 2. All right, fine. And when you write this, it becomes same for all the objects. Fine. Now this is done. Okay. Now inside the class, inside the human being class, you can have also functions. For example, public void walk. Yeah, if somebody wants to ask a question. You mean to say how in test class I am accessing? It's a class name. Human being is a class name. Static things can be accessed directly with the name of the class in Java. You just have to write human being and you'll get. Similarly, you can have functions. You can have a non-static. This is a non-static function. You can have a static function. Static function can directly be accessed with the name of the class. You can type over here human being dot xyz. Static function can be directly accessed. Non-static function has to be accessed with the object reference. Okay, right. Now, how does this help us in Selenium? In Selenium, everything is inbuilt, as I told you. If you open the documentation and scroll down, yeah, that is inbuilt only. That is inbuilt only. That is extension and all is inheritance. I am not talking about that right now. But you can access one class and another class. You have to create the object and all. You can do it. Okay, you got it right. Fine. Now, if I scroll down, you will see something known as WebDriver written out here. Okay, if you click on this, these are the drivers. These are the different driver classes which are present in Selenium. Chrome driver is there, Edge driver, event firing, Firefox driver, Opera. Okay, for every browser, you have a driver class. Alright, for every browser, you have a driver class. For example, Firefox driver is used for creating or running scripts on Firefox. Alright, and I'll just explain you. Make sure you have included all the jars of Selenium which I had explained you, right? So I'll create a class known as basic drivers. Okay, and I'll have the main function inside it. Out here, if you create the object of Firefox driver class, then you can work with Firefox. You move the mouse over the error, import Firefox driver, run this code, and you will see that in my PC, not in your PC, in my PC, a blank Firefox will open up. It won't open in your PC, you will get some binary error and all something. Okay, so what you need to do is that you need to go to Selenium website. In your case, you won't get this opening of Firefox. What you need to do is go to the Selenium website, go to the download section, and scroll down. You will get this third-party browser drivers not developed by Selenium HQ. You will get this Mozilla Gecko driver. Okay, click on this, and this page you will get, right? This which explains you about this driver and all. You don't need to, go into depth out here. Okay, go back. You have to click on this latest link, and you have to download the zip file for your OS. Fine, for Windows 64-bit, this is the one. And in my PC, I have kept it under this path. You will get this exe known as geckodriver.exe. What you need to do is that copy the path and write the line over here, system.setProperty. System is an internal class in Java, and setProperty is a static function. It can set some system properties. Alright. The key you can give as webdriver.gecko.driver and the value as make sure you write this line before this line. Okay. The value as the path to the exe. Okay. This is the exe, geckodriver.exe. You give the path of this exe out. System.setProperty webdriver.gecko.driver Everything should be in the lowercase. Okay, and give the path of Jacko driver exe. So when you run this code, a blank Firefox will open up for you in this case. Okay, and with the help of Firefox driver object, you have this FD, right? Object reference. You can access the functions in Firefox driver. There are a lot of functions inside this class. For example, the get function will take you to a variable, to a website, sorry, http://yahoo.com. Okay, look, mentioning the protocol is important in Selenium. If you don't mention the protocol, it won't work. It's not like UFT where you skip the protocol. Get function will take the browser to the URL. Okay, so when you run this program, you will have the browser opened and right out here you see the website opens up. Similarly, for every browser we have a driver. If you look at the documentation again for Selenium, you have Chrome driver. Chrome driver is for Chrome. Now one thing guys about Firefox driver which I want to tell you. Look, suppose today the version of Firefox is version of Selenium is 3.12 and suppose Firefox is, I'm not sure, it's I think 59 or something. 3.12 is supporting 59 Firefox. Suppose tomorrow the version 60 comes up, right? It won't be supported and you will get an error. So it's always good to work on the one or two levels lesser than the current version of the Firefox browser and make sure that you have turned off the automatic updates. From tools options menu, okay, go to update and never check for updates. Okay, please select this option, that never check for updates. Make sure you have turned off the updates in Firefox. All right, fine. This is important. For Chrome you have got Chrome driver. If I just write CHROM and hit Control spacebar of my keyboard, it will give you all the classes starting with the word CHROM. Right, one of them would be Chrome driver. You can select it and it will be imported automatically. Alright, you don't have to write it completely and you write new Chrome driver. And then if you run this code, I will comment out these lines. In my PC, you will see a blank Chrome opening up, but not in your PC. Right. And now you write out here Chrome driver.get http yahoo.com. You send this to Yahoo. So it will be taken to Yahoo. To remove that error which you will be actually getting on your PC, you need to download the Chrome driver exe and that can be downloaded from Selenium HQ website. Okay, Under the download section, under third-party drivers, you will find the Google Chrome driver. You can go to this latest link, and on this latest link, you click on this Chrome driver 2.40. You will have these particular links. Download it for your operating system. For Windows 32-bit or 64-bit operating system, this is the link. Sorry, for 32-bit or 64-bit operating system, this is the link, and when you click on this link, a zip file will be downloaded under the drivers directly. For example, this is chrome driver.exe. This is the zip file which is downloaded, and you can copy the path and go here and type system.set property webdriver dot chrome dot driver and the path to the exe. Okay, so this will be the Chrome driver exe. Fine. Okay, and when you run this code, it will start running. Fine. So this opens the browser, takes you to yahoo.com. Similarly, for Internet Explorer, for Chrome, there is no prerequisite, but make sure you are working on the latest Chrome and the latest Chrome driver exe. Okay, at times Chrome gets updated, you have to then download the exe again, and also be careful about that. Alright, now for Internet Explorer. For Internet Explorer, you have got Explorer drive, Internet Explorer drive. Okay, you can use this, just type INTER control spacebar, hit it, and you can keep on typing, you'll get the Internet Explorer driver. You create the object of this Internet Explorer driver. For you have to actually, go to Selenium website, go to the download section and download the 32-bit or 64-bit exe. Okay, from their website, and I have kept it over here. And for you have to give the command system.set property. It is case sensitive. Please make sure that you are giving everything in lowercase. People sometimes come to me, say D is capital or something, and then they are unable to run it. So make sure you are giving it in the uppercase and give the path of the exe out here. In Java, you have to give / because of escape sequence. So set property is the command. System.set property. This is the system property, and you can take to yahoo.com as well. When you run this code, it will open and will be taken to Yahoo. Now for there are various prerequisites as well. The first of all, the prerequisite is, hold on. If you hit Alt button, you'll get this menu. Under this, zoom should be 100%. Make sure that in zoom is 100%. Okay. Then under Tools, Internet Explorer option, under Security, you will have 4 zones. Make sure you uncheck this option, Enable Protected Mode. Disable the protected mode for all the zones. Alright. Then go to Advanced Settings. In Advanced Settings, scroll down. is actually deprecated now. It's no longer being supported by Microsoft, but there are many companies which actually use it. Under Security, Check this. Allow active content to run files on my computer. Check this option. Okay. So under advanced, check the option allow active content. Okay, to change or to run files on my PC. Right? Okay. Fine. So out here, these are the three settings which are required in case of I. I is not used these days. Microsoft has come up with Edge browser and Selenium supports Edge as well. For Edge, you have this file known as Edge driver, not the file, but a class known as Edge driver for Microsoft Edge. You create the object of this class. Okay. And you move the mouse. All right. And I'm sorry. For Edge, you have to download the exe again, but you have to be little careful. For example, on my Edge, which is on my Windows, if I go to Tools and if I go to Settings and then if I scroll down, I will see the Microsoft Edge version. This is the version 17.17134. Okay, now go to the Selenium website, scroll down under third-party browser drivers for Microsoft Edge. Click on this, it will take you to the Microsoft website. Over here, they have the exe as downloads over here. This download the exe for your version. Edge supported, this is mine. So I'll download this one. If yours is this, you download this one. Okay, right, please check the version. And I have kept it over here under drivers. Okay, now what you need to do is you need to go to the code and give the same line. Sorry, system.set property webdriver.edge.driver and give the path of edge driver exe of your machine. And you write driver.get to http yahoo.com, and if you run this code, it will open Yahoo. Some error is coming up. Hold on. WebDriver socket. Okay, some port is blocked, I guess. If I close Edge and if I run this again, again error. Okay, maybe I need a restart. It works on a port. There is some socket blocked or something. Okay, maybe I need a restart. Fine. So that's it. Now, anyways, this is done. These are the different drivers. For Edge, you have to be careful about the version. Fine, you have to be careful about the version. Now, there is no need to write system.set property again and again. Like in my machine, it works without this as well. All you need to do is that Keep all the exes under one folder like I have kept. Copy the path of this folder, go to my computer and go to properties, and under advanced system settings, this is advanced system settings, go to environment variables tab, this is environment variables, and create a new system variable. Not create, I'm sorry. Scroll down, there will be a system variable existing path. Edit this. In Windows 10, you will see this screen. In Windows 7 or 8, you will get a different screen. I'll tell you about that. Okay, edit the path variable. Create a new path and give the path of the place where you have kept all the drivers. Okay, click on OK, OK and all. In case of Windows 7 or 8, you will get a window like this. In the variable value, don't fiddle with anything. Go to the end, put a semicolon, and after putting the semicolon, give the path of the drivers or give the path of the folder where you have kept the exes. Right. Click on OK, OK, and you will have to restart your PC. After restarting your PC, even if you don't write this line system.set_property, your code will work for sure. Okay, this will work for sure. So if you run this, this will work. See, Mozilla is opening up and it will work. So these are the various drivers. Okay, these drivers, they help you to actually run on different browsers. Fine. And there are other driver classes as well. For example, you have Safari driver or Opera driver, which are unstable. Opera driver and Safari driver don't run very normally. They give a lot of issues. Remote web driver. This is used in case of Selenium grid when you are running the test cases parallelly. Okay, right. Now, this is fine. These are the different drivers. Now, the question which arises is that do you have to learn every driver class separately? Will I have to learn Chrome driver separately, iDriver separately, Edge driver separately? Because if I have to write a script in Chrome, I will have to use the features of Chrome driver. If I have to write a script in Firefox, features of Firefox driver. Well, the answer to that is, of course, no. Okay, you don't have to learn every driver class separately, and that is possible through the concept of interfaces, which we will be dealing tomorrow. Okay, so this is simple concept of object-oriented programming and basic drivers and all. Okay, right, of Selenium. Now, one last thing which I want to cover for today is the concept of constructor in Java language. Sorry. Right. How is constructor used and what basically is constructor? Fine. I'll create a new class out here. Selenium is done, drivers are done. You can practice that. I will send you the recorded video and all everything. Okay. Now let us talk about constructors, how they are used. Right. Right. I'll create a class known as car. And in the car class, you create a variable known as name, int cost, say int weight of the car or something, right? Now suppose I have to create the object of this car class. Okay, right. Then out here you write car c1 equals to car. With C1, I can initialize the non-static parameters. I can write name is a car X, C1 dot cost 200, C1 dot weight is 300. Okay, fine. And car C2 equals to new car. C2 dot name is Z. C2 dot cost is 300. C2 dot weight is 400. Right. And you print C1 dot name. Hold on. C2 dot name. You can do that. But to initialize one object, you have to write 3 lines. Does this make sense? That to initialize one object, you are writing 3 lines. What if this car had number of other properties? What if it has got other properties? Right? These are just 3 properties. Okay. For that, you have to create a constructor. Okay, you can create a constructor like this, public car. This is known as a default constructor. This has no input variables. Inside it, if I write system.out.println car default constructor, and when you run this, oh, you will run this test.java, where I have created 2 objects of the car constructor of the car. When I run this, car default constructor will be printed 2 times. Okay, you create new car object again and again. Okay, and when you run it again and again, car default constructor is printed, right? Okay, it is printed again and again. So every time you create the object of the car class, the constructor is called and this is printed. Okay, right. Anybody with any questions? So constructor is something which is called when the object of the class is created. Okay. Now, if you write, you can also write like this. you can create one more form of this constructor which accepts name, cost, and weight, three parameters. And when you create the object of the car class, you create it like car C3 equals to name Z, cost 20, weight 300. Something like this. Fine. Okay, hold on. This should be string int cost and int weight. Okay, yeah, fine. So you're sending the name, cost, and weight. And inside the constructor, you can write the variable name, which is global variable. Name equals to n, cost equals to c, weight equals to w. Okay, and go to test.java. When you run this program, C3, this object will be auto initialized. This car constructor will be called, all the parameters will be passed over inside it, and the name, cost, and weight will be initialized. So on the fly, you have created the object and you have also initialized the object. So this is the advantage of constructor. Okay, you can print say C3 dot name, and when you run this, it's going to print Z in the end. Okay, so constructor is something which helps you to initialize the object state, and it is called, when you create the object, it is called automatically. All right. So this is all about constructors. Constructor, I cannot tell you how it will be used practically. It will be used in the framework actually, in the project. Okay. So now I'll stop here.